Antarctica. If you live there, you are a scientist working at a research laboratory in Antarctica. One day you receive an email message from a friend. She wants to open a company that will lead public tours through Antarctica so people can see its spectacular icy landscape and wildlife. Some of your fellow scientists think that tours are a good idea, while others think that they could ruin the local environment. What will you tell your friend? Physical geography. In the southernmost part of the world is the continent of Antarctica. This frozen land is very different from any other place on Earth. The land, ice covers about 98% of Antarctica's 5.4 million square miles, 14 million square kilometers. This ice sheet contains more than 90% of the world's ice. On average, the ice sheet is more than 1 mile or 1.6 kilometers thick. The weight of Antarctica's ice sheet causes ice to flow slowly off the continent. As the ice reaches the coast, it forms a ledge over the surrounding seas. This ledge of ice that extends over the water is called an ice shelf. Antarctica's ice shelves are huge. In fact, the Ross Ice Shelf, Antarctica's largest, is about the size of France. Sometimes parts of the ice shelf break off into the surrounding water. Floating masses of ice that have broken off a glacier are icebergs. When one iceberg recently formed, it was approximately the size of the country of Luxembourg. In West Antarctica, the Antarctic Peninsula extends north of the Antarctic Circle. As a result, temperatures that are often warmer than in other parts of the continent. Climate and resources. Most of Antarctica's interior is dominated by a freezing ice cap climate. Temperatures can drop below -120, and very little precipitation falls as a result. Much of Antarctica is considered a polar desert, a high-latitude region that receives very little precipitation. The precipitation that does fall does not melt due to the cold temperatures. Instead, it remains as ice. Because of Antarctica's high latitude, the continent is in almost total darkness. During winter months, seas clog with ice as a result of the extreme temperatures. In the summer, the sun shines around the clock and temperatures rise to near freezing. Plant life only survives in the ice-free tundra areas. Insects are the frozen land's only land animals. Penguins, seals, and whales live in Antarctica's waters. Antarctica has many mineral resources, including iron ore, gold, copper, and coal. Crossing Antarctica. In 1989, a 6-person team set off to cross Antarctica on foot. The 3,700-mile journey took 7 months to complete. Team member Will Steger describes his first view of the continent. Now flying over the iceberg-laden Weddell Sea, the biggest adventure of my life was about to begin. To the south, I could barely pick out the peaks of the mountains. Mountains I knew jutted 3,000 feet in the air. They lined the peninsula's coast for hundreds of miles. Leading up to them was a 2-mile-wide meet of snow and ice, preceded by the blue of the sea. It was a picture of purity, similar to many I had seen in the picture books. Early explorations. So here is a picture of Sir Ernest Shackleton. Irish-born Ernest Shackleton was one of several early explorers of Antarctica. Shackleton led a British expedition in 1907 through 1909 that climbed Mount Erebus, an active volcano, and discovered the Beardmore Glacier, and came with 97 miles of the South Pole, the farthest south anyone has ever been. In the early 1900s, several expeditions set out to find the South Pole. The first to reach the pole were members of a Norwegian expedition led by Roald Amundsen. In the photo, a member of the Norwegian expedition poses with his team of dogs near the flag that marks the South Pole. Early explorations. The discovery of Antarctica is a fairly recent one. Although explorers long believed there was a southern continent, it was not until 1775 that James Cook first sighted the Antarctic Peninsula. In the 1800s, explorers first investigated Antarctica. One motive of many explorers was to discover the South Pole and other new lands. In 1911, a team of Norwegian explorers became the first people to reach the South Pole. Since then, several countries, including the United States, Australia, and Chile, have climbed parts of Antarctica. In 1959, the Internal Antarctic Treaty was signed to preserve the continent for science and peace. The treaty banned military activity in Antarctica and set aside the entire continent for research. Antarctica today. Today, Antarctica is the only continent without a permanent human population. Scientists use the continent to conduct research and to monitor the environment. Scientific research. While they are conducting research in Antarctica, researchers live on bases or stations. Several countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia, have bases in Antarctica. Antarctic research covers a wide range of topics. Some scientists concentrate on the continent's plants and animals' life. Others examine weather conditions. One group of researchers is studying Earth's ozone layer. The ozone layer is a layer of Earth's atmosphere that protects living things from the harmful effects of the sun's ultraviolet rays. Scientists have found a thinning in the ozone layer above Antarctica. Environmental threats. Many people today are concerned about Antarctica's environment. Over the years, researchers and tourists have left behind trash and sewage, polluting the environment. Oil spills have damaged surrounding seas. In addition, companies have hoped to exploit Antarctica's valuable resources. Some people fear that any mining of the resources in Antarctica will result in more environmental problems. To prevent this, a new international agreement was reached in 1991. This agreement forbids most activities that do not have a scientific purpose. It bans mining and drilling and limits tourism. In the section, you have learned about Antarctica's unusual physical geography and harsh climates. Despite the difficulty of living in such harsh conditions, Antarctica remains an important place for scientific research. So this, as you can see, is an example of Antarctica's ice shelves. So you can see how the ice kind of formulates and comes off into the Pacific, and that results in sometimes the ice falling down into the ocean. Antarctica is home to many large ice shelves. An ice shelf is a piece of glacier that extends over the surrounding seas. In recent years, scientists have become concerned that rising temperatures on the planet are causing the rapid disintegration of some of Antarctica's ice shelves. This satellite image from 2002 shows the breakup of a huge portion of Antarctica's Larsen B ice shelf. Located on the Antarctic Peninsula, the breakup of the ice shelf released from 720 billion tons of ice into the Weddell Sea. And that is the end of the chapter. Great job, guys. Hope you have an amazing